All right, so 17 says, because addictive drugs are physically harmful, their use by athletes is never justified. Purists, however, claim that taking massive doses of even such non-addictive drugs as aspirin and vitamins before competing should also be prohibited because they are unnatural. So we got these like crazy purists that are saying like even aspirin and vitamins should not be allowed because they're unnatural. I'm like, all right, well then they've never had sore muscles before, but okay. This is ridiculous. Almost everything in sports is unnatural, from high-tech running shoes to padded boxing gloves to highly specialized bodybuilding machines. Yet, none of these is prohibited on the basis of its being unnatural. Furthermore, we should be attending to far more serious problems that plague modern sports and result in unnecessary deaths and injuries. Therefore, the use of non-addictive drugs by athletes should not be prohibited. All right, Tia, what's our conclusion here?
The last sentence?
Yeah, we have a subsidiary in here too. So Atusa, what's our subsidiary conclusion?
After furthermore.
Actually, no, furthermore is like in addition. So it's like support. Actually, furthermore, we should be attending to. Actually, no, I would actually give you. Never mind. I would actually say that is kind of a subsidiary conclusion. We should be doing that. So you're okay with. You're good there. There's actually another one too.
This is ridiculous.
Yes, we say yes. Can we see how those all build? You were right, Atusa. I'm so sorry. I was just really focused on that. This is ridiculous. So we're saying this is ridiculous. We should be focusing on these problems instead, and the use of that should not be prohibited. So this is going to be a weaken question. So we want to weaken our main conclusion, which is non-addictive drugs by athletes should not be prohibited. So if we're trying to weaken that, essentially we're trying to say that non-addictive drugs by athletes should be prohibited, right? So I want everybody to predict an answer of what would weaken this argument and put your prediction in the chat. All right, so I'm gonna go over this one. So we said our conclusion was the use of non-addictive drugs by athletes should not be prohibited. So our conclusion is they should be allowed. So I wanted to come up with a prediction of why they should not be allowed. And I really focused on, and this just comes with practice, and some people picked up on this in their prediction, is like, well, we're saying that we already are saying that addictive drugs are physically harmful and they're never justified. So if we could show that non-addictive drugs are physically harmful, would that be a good reason to weaken our conclusion? And so that was my prediction, is that they are somehow physically harmful. And so when I went through these, I read A, so massive doses of aspirin and vitamins enhance athletic performance. Do we have a problem with things enhancing athletic performance? Like, we say that, I think that, like, because we say that we actually think that these other things like high-tech running shoes and padded boxing gloves that enhance performance are okay. So I don't think that's a very good reason for why they should not be, like, that they should not be, or should not be allowed. Yeah. B says addictive drugs are just as unnatural. Like, we don't care that addictive drugs are just as unnatural. Like, cool, we're not talking about addictive drugs. C says unnecessary deaths and injuries occur in other walks of life besides modern sports. Do we care about other things other than what we're talking about specifically here? Nope, so it's not C. And then D says there would be more unnecessary deaths and injuries if it were not for running shoes, boxing. Like, do we care that there would be more if we don't have those unnatural things? Nope. And then E says taking massive doses of aspirin and vitamins can be physically harmful. Yeah, this is a huge weakener, right? Because we say that addictive drugs are never justified because they're physically harmful. So if we can show that the non-addictive drugs are also physically harmful, then that's a problem. And so E is going to be our answer. Does anybody have any questions on this question in particular?